On the 20th of July, 1903, the keel to the battleship Deutschland was laid down in Kiel, Germany, and this would end up becoming the final class of pre-dreadnoughts Germany would produce. In December of 1903, Kaiser Wilhelm II asked the Naval Development Department to look into a heavy armored cruiser design of 13,300 metric tons with 4 28-centimeter main battery guns and 8 21-centimeter secondary battery guns. In January of 1904, the construction office submitted designs 5A, 5B, and 6. The main battery arrangement on 5A and 5B was the same. The 4 21-centimeter guns were in 2 twin turrets, one located forward and one aft. The secondary battery is where they are different. Design 5A had 4 21-centimeter guns in single turrets and 4 in casemates, while 5B had all of the guns in 4 twin turrets. Both use the hexagonal layout. Design 6 supported the same arrangement for the 28-centimeter guns. However, the secondary battery consisted of 10 21-centimeter guns, 4 of which were in casemates, while the remaining 6 were in open mounts. Design 6 was deemed unsatisfactory and was sidelined. By February of 1904, the Kaiser had a change of heart. He no longer wanted a 13,300-ton heavy armored cruiser, but instead a 14,000 metric ton heavy armored cruiser with 4 28-centimeter guns and 10 21-centimeter or 10 24-centimeter guns. This would result in designs 6B, 6C, 6D, 10A, and 10B. Projects 6B, C, and D were improvements of the sideline Project 6 from earlier. However, this time it had used the incorporated improvements that the Kaiser was requesting. Designs 10A and 10B were closer related to 5A and 5B. We once again see the arrangement of the hexagonal turrets, however this time they are twin mounts, and we can also see some guns were placed in casemates. The weapons are described as being a mix between 21 and 24-centimeter guns, so I'd assume the 24-centimeter guns are in the turrets, while the 21-centimeter guns are in the casemates. None of these designs were really acceptable. Designs 6B through D were so similar to Design 6 that the same issues that plagued Design 6 causing it to be sidelined would also see all 3 of these sidelined, while 10A and 10B, having such a heavy mix of relatively large caliber guns, would make splashes difficult to discern from one another and range finding a near impossible task. In March of 1904, the General Navy Department confirmed that they wanted a uniform increase into the 24-centimeter medium caliber armament, since having the mixed armament would cause range finding complications, and thus design work began on this approach. On the 2nd of April 1904, the Construction Department would address State Secretary Admiral Tirpitz that the 24-centimeter heavy armored cruiser design was approaching a battleship in cost and efficiency, though the armament would most certainly not give the same payoff that a uniform 28-centimeter armament would, and thus they preferred just converting the cruiser into a full-blown battleship and focusing on a uniform 28-centimeter armament, with no medium-caliber supplements. This memorandum would give Germany a warship that was capable of weakening enemy units over time, but also took into account Germany's disadvantages, such as its geographical location and financial restrictions. This would see the development of Project 1, Project 2, and Project 3. The approach of each project was different. Project 1 would have a design with 4 28-centimeter guns and 12 21-centimeter guns. Project 2 would have 4 28-centimeter guns and 16 21-centimeter guns, while Project 3 would have 4 28-centimeter guns and 8 24-centimeter guns. Even though the April 2nd memorandum wanted a uniform increase into the 28-centimeter caliber, Project 1 with the 12 21-centimeter gun supplement was selected primarily on financial grounds. This would see designs 1A and 1B. 1A was approved by the Kaiser in May of 1904, though the arrangement of the secondary guns had not been decided. In December of 1904, Design 1A was improved upon, which resulted in 7D, which was approved in January of 1905, and it supported the 8 21cm guns in 4 twin turrets, creating the hexagonal layout once again. Shortly after 7D was approved, German spies reported the specifications of the new Lord Nelson-class battleships in the Royal Navy, and they supported a secondary armament of 23cm guns, and thus Project 7D was no longer deemed sufficient to counter these. With design work having started over, a new battleship was developed that finally focused on a uniform armament of 28cm guns. 4 of them would be located in 2 twin turrets, 1 forward and 1 aft, while the remaining 4 guns would be in 4 single turrets, creating the hexagonal arrangement. Shortly after the Kaiser approved of this design, he would receive the specifications of the new Italian battleship Regina Elena, which had a top speed of 22 knots, and thus he wanted his new battleship project to reach the same speed. At this point, Admiral Tirpitz had to intervene. He pointed out to the Kaiser that the German naval law of 1900, which the Kaiser pushed for and approved, clearly separated battleships and armored cruisers, and this meant that the speed category fell under the armored cruisers, and the two should not be combined at this given point in time. Admiral Tirpitz was also aware that his design department was overwhelmed with design work at that given point in time, and creating a new type of warship would only stress them even further, and thus he urged the Kaiser to hold off on his fast battleship ideas until future naval laws, and the Kaiser would agree. On the 19th of May, 1906, the new naval law was passed, and this would allocate funding for 2 18,000-ton battleships and 1 15,000-ton armored cruiser, and it also gave funding for the enlargement of the Kaiser Wilhelm Canal so these new supersized ships could pass. Before the 1906 Naval Amendment had even been approved, in September of 1905, design work began on Project F, and this put 10 28cm guns in 5 twin turrets, in an arrangement that was similar to the Dreadnought, keeping in mind that Dreadnought had not been laid down yet. Admiral Tirpitz disliked this design and would reject it. In October of 1905, Project G would commence, and this would see a breakdown of 7 different designs, labeled G1 to G7. This project would focus on creating a ship with a uniform 28cm main caliber armament, and it would go through various design phases, ultimately resulting in G7 being preferred, and then G7B being a refinement of that design, which would eventually be accepted. G7B would see further refinements, and on the 14th of April, 1906, G7D was accepted, and on the 31st of May, 1906, G7D was accepted for construction. Blueprints were drafted up for 4 separate shipyards, and the first class of German dreadnoughts would begin construction, and these would become the Nassau class, consistent of the Nassau, Westfalen, Rhineland, and Posen. To sum it up, design work would commence in 1903 at the request of the Kaiser, and due to his constant alterations in request, the designs constantly had to be tossed away, refined, and redesigned. As a result, the ship would not begin construction until after Dreadnought, but it would finally come into the philosophy of a modern naval battle. With that having been said, hopefully you have learned something new. If so, why not leave a comment and a like down below? Have a wonderful day.